The worst thing about old cars is that they drive like old cars, especially when it comes to starting an engine response. Quick Fuel Technology has a solution. Its retrofit QFI electronic fuel injection replaces any 4-barrel carburetor. Just hit the key, and its patented annular discharge throttle body provides fast starting, warm-up, and incredible throttle response. Quick Fuel's QFI is available as a base kit without the fuel delivery system, or as a master kit shown here, complete with everything you need to convert your vehicle to EFI. QFI is packed with innovative features like its patented annular discharge sleeves. Also, QFI throttle body features throttle linkage designed for correct GM 700R4 and Ford AOD transmission cable geometry. The QFI is self-learning and comes with a handheld controller to enter initial setup information. The master kit is complete with black anodized high-pressure AN hose ends, a fuel pressure regulator with gauge, and braided high-pressure fuel line. The wiring harness comes fully assembled and ready to install. You can also see here the wideband O2 sensor that can be clamped in place, no welding required. Let's begin the QFI installation. First, you must disconnect the vehicle's battery from its electrical system by disconnecting the ground cable. Now you can remove the carburetor and old carb flange gaskets. Next, we attacked the Falcon's fuel tank because it was filled with 52 years of rust and sludge. We sent it out to be professionally cleaned, and we ordered a new fuel pickup and sender assembly. Quick Fuel recommends a 3/8-inch ID fuel line, so we converted the original Falcon 5/16-inch fuel pickup to serve as our fuel return, and installed the new 3/8-inch pickup tube for the supply side. There are several ways to hook up a return line. You can plumb it to your gas filler neck, or many companies are offering new tanks with the return line already installed. Since the fuel tank was all rusty and gunked up, so was the original fuel line. We replace it with a new stainless steel line that snakes its way down through the drive shaft tunnel and serves as our return line to the tank. Next, we mount the fuel pressure regulator and gauge where we could easily see it and adjust the pressure while the engine is running. The high pressure fuel pump and filter are mounted by the fuel tank because these pumps are pushers, not pullers. Also, be sure to mount them up out of the way to protect them from objects on the road. We mounted ours inside of the frame rail. The other end of the pressure side fuel line is the fuel pressure regulator that was centrally mounted on the firewall with sheet metal screws. Now we measure for the high pressure braided hose and install the AN hose ends per the QFI instructions. Lubricating the hose fittings with oil helps the tightening process to eliminate thread galling. We attached the high-pressure hose to the fuel pump and connected the electrical connections. We also made sure that the fuel lines and wires were clear of the exhaust and moving parts underneath the car. The return line from the fuel pressure regulator to the tank is located in the Falcon's transmission tunnel. The braided high pressure line follows the frame rails forward and attaches to the fuel pressure regulator with a 90-degree AN fitting. The low pressure return line attaches to the bottom of the regulator and clamps to the new stainless steel return line in the driveline tunnel. The QFI O2 sensor bung can be clamped in place with hose clamps, or if you prefer, permanently welded in place. We drill the hole in the exhaust at the recommended distance from the engine. It is above the center line of the pipe so that the O2 sensor will be angled down to shed any moisture buildup. You can mount the ECU anywhere inside of the car that the wiring harness will reach. We mounted ours to the bottom of the radio tray. It gives us easy access to the ECU, and we can see the red LED when making programming changes. The QFI throttle body has one-to-one linkage as demonstrated here, and 2 fuel connections. It bolts to the 4-barrel intake manifold, just like a carburetor, using the new gasket provided. Next, we hook up the fuel lines, throttle, and transmission cables. We made sure that the throttle worked smoothly and returned all the way to closed position. The transmission cable for our Ford AOD is adjusted to factory specifications after the car is running. Warning: proper transmission cable adjustment is critical. Transmission failure may result from improper adjustment. Before the engine is started, the base values for the vehicle are entered into the handheld controller, such as number of cylinders, engine displacement, and type of camshaft, etc. The final check is to make sure everything is connected and tight. The fuel system is pressurized and adjusted to approximately 45 psi. Check for fuel leaks at every connection. Finally, we start the engine and begin driving so that the ECU can learn and be calibrated to our vehicle and driving style. We monitored the handheld and confirmed that everything was operating and running correctly. Some vehicles may be outside normal street car parameters, such as our Falcon that had a small 302 cubic inch engine with a giant cam and high stall torque converter. In our case, we used the QFI laptop software and did some fine tuning, and the results were spectacular. Wow, the driving experience is amazing with QFI. Easier starting, incredible throttle response, and a smoother power band put the fun back into driving. Old cars no longer have to drive like old cars thanks to QFI.